Alrighty, guys. So this is the end of our story, lines 331 to 391. Scoot worked herself forward a few feet, guessing where the skylight might be, and then went down to find the butterfly windows, the flashlight beam cutting through the murk. It took a few seconds to locate them and put a hand on one brass dog. She tried to turn it, but it was too tight for her muscles, and she rose up to breathe again. Not knowing what was happening below or whether Scoot was trying to escape, Sully was getting more anxious by the moment. He didn't know whether or not the crazy telepathy was working. He wished she would tap again to let him know she was still alive. It had been more than 20 minutes since she'd last tapped. Scoot had seen a toolbox under the companionway steps and went back to try to find it. She guessed there'd be wrenches inside it, unless they'd spilled out. Using the flashlight again, she found the metal box and opened it. Back to the surface to breathe again, and then back to the toolbox to extract a wrench. With each move, she was becoming more and more confident. A big sailboat beating south came into Sully's view, but it was more than 2 miles away, and the occupants, unless he was very lucky, would not be able to spot the Sea Dog's mound and the man standing on it waving frantically. 4 times Scoot needed to dive, once for each dog, and working underwater was at least 5 times as difficult as trying to turn them in usual circumstances. She'd aim the light and rest it to illuminate the windows. Finally, all the dogs were loose and she rose once again. This time, after filling her lungs to bursting, she went down and pushed on the starboard window. It cracked a little, but the outside sea pressure resisted, and she had to surface again. Sully sat down, almost giving up hope. How long the air pocket would hold up was anybody's guess. The boat had settled at least 6 inches in the last 2 hours. It might not last into the night. On her 6th dive, Scoot found a way to brace her feet against the ceiling ribs. She pushed with all her strength, and this time the window opened. Almost out of breath, she quickly pushed her body through, and the old sea dog released her. Treading water beside the hull, she sucked in fresh air and finally called out, "Sully!" He looked her way, saw the grin of triumph on the oil-stained imp face, and dived in to help her aboard the derelict. Shivering, holding each other for warmth all night, they rowed and rocked, knowing that the boat was sinking lower each hour. Just after dawn, the Red Rooster, a long-range sports fishing boat out of San Diego, bound south for fish for wahoo and tuna off the Revilla-Gigedo Islands, came within 100 yards of the upside-down sailboat and stopped to pick up its 2 chattering survivors. The Red Rooster's captain, Mark Stevens, asked, "What happened?" "Rogue wave," said Sully. That's what he planned to say to Bo Tucker as well. Stevens winced and nodded that he understood. The old sea dog stayed on the surface for a little while longer, having delivered her survivors to safety. Then her air pocket breathed its last, and she slipped beneath the water, headed for the bottom.